What's up, weebs, and welcome back to Anime Lane, the show where we take you down the yellow brick road of anime and have a look at everything it has to offer. As always, I am your host, Notorious, and joining me once again, as always, are Shaun and Melina.
Hello.
And we, for the first time on Anime Lane, have a guest, and I'm going to let Melina introduce him.
It's my boy.
It's me.
Do you want to give him a name?
What name do you want to have here?
Manuele is fine.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, Manuele is fine.
You could have chosen any name.
See, Melina was like, you prefer being called Manuele. And I'm like,
No, Manuele.
Manuele.
You know, because
okay.
it's easier.
I remember her saying
You kind of look
Manuel.
like Lin-Manuel Miranda as well. Is just kind of what
Yeah,
I've
you do.
noticed.
Oh no.
You get that a lot.
No, never.
No?
I think it's the bun.
I think it's the bun. Yeah,
And the no glasses.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I know it's hard for people to say my name.
You've heard a lot of variations of it.
Yeah, I know in the US they used to call me Manny, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But that made me think that my name was Manfred.
Ah,
And I was
okay.
like, that's a bit of an identity crisis.
Also
But-
very far from like the fact you're Italian.
Yeah, yeah.
And Manfred
I
is
know.
very far from being Italian.
Yes, yeah. But they were like, "Can I call you Manny?" Of course. Yeah. So
As long as you don't fucking mispronounce my name, I don't care.
Yeah. Manuel is fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Chris.
Chris, yeah. That was my.
Sure.
That was me at Starbucks.
It's your
I
Starbucks
would just say
name.
Chris, because they always fuck my name up. Like if you see my name how it's spelled, it's like Manuel with an extra e at the end. But people in the US they spell I had like annual, ANUL, and I was like, where does that come from? So. Yeah, I was like, Chris is fine. And they're like, there you go, Chris. They knew my name was like, there you go, Chris. Yeah.
We got a coffee here for instruction booklet.
Starbucks baristas are on like another fucking planet.
I mean, your name. They
Oh.
spell your name.
how did they get your name
Yeah.
wrong?
That's the thing. Like, if you hear Melina, what do you think?
I think how it's spelled.
No,
Yeah.
Malena.
I've met Melina.
In Boston, Melanie.
Mulaney, like Mulaney.
Has anyone called you Millie yet?
I've had Melanie. Melanie, I'm like, fair enough. You just think. But I found out the more I pronounce it in a funny Italian accent, the more likely they are to get it right.
Wow. You know, it's funny, I was playing Elden Ring and there's a character that has the same spelling as your name, and I'm like, oh, hey, there's a character called Melina. And then the character introduces himself and they're like, I am Melina. And I'm like, no.
No,
Yeah,
you're
dude.
fucking not.
I'm sorry, you can call yourself that, but in my head, I'm calling you Melina. So we're going to be talking about... So today we're going to be talking about Jin-Roh, the Wolf Brigade, and Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. Where do we want to start?
What do we watch first? The vampire one.
Yes.
Okay, so we all
watched the
started
vampire
with
one
Vampire
first.
That's
Hunter.
what I said because I'm a listener, and I was like, let's all start from the because I know she doesn't do it. She starts.
You always go for. You're always watching like a different order from
I
us.
watched the one I want to watch most last.
Yeah, we went
Yeah,
over this
yeah.
last time.
I kind of wish I had watched Vampire Hunter last, I'll be
Same.
honest.
Same.
Just to go into our thoughts on that real quick.
Yeah. We'll get to Jin-Roh.
Oh, we'll get
to
there.
it.
Oh, we'll get there.
Okay, so Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust is.
A vibe.
Do you know?
I am
It's a movie.
blanked on who directed it. Yoshiaki Kawajiri. It was produced by Studio Madhouse primarily for an English-speaking audience, so we all watched it in English dub because
I was curious. About
Yeah.
that. I was like,
Yeah.
how come it's just in English?
Yeah,
I was
there
tempted.
is a Japanese track, but we can't get a hold of it outside of Japan.
Oh, okay. When I like saw that and I saw like there was no Japanese star, I was almost gonna ask, did you mean to like just send an English dub? Or is it just an English
That's what we did
dub?
as well. Yeah, I was like, maybe downloaded the wrong file.
No, it's only available in English, which is fine because the English dub is fine.
Yeah, I was
liked
really
it.
surprised at the end of the thing. I was like, it's actually pretty good. You know,
Yeah.
we usually watch stuff in Japanese because it's usually the best. But this one was like, this is really good. It was like, it doesn't
Feel
the
weird.
the sync with the lips move. I was like,
Yeah,
this sounds
yeah.
it looks so natural. So
It was
so
recorded in English, and so they animated to the
yeah, that's why.
Ah.
Okay,
Yeah,
English.
English
It looked too.
to natural.
Yeah.
So yeah, who wants to kick us off? Because I'm still reeling from Jin-Roh.
Fair.
I think we all are in some
Yeah.
sense.
Um,
This movie was a vibe.
Oh, it was,
It was a
such a
vibe.
vibe. Yeah.
it was. I loved the general aesthetic
Oh,
of
yeah.
the film.
Yes.
Do you know when it came out?
I actually looked it up.
the
It was like 1997.
2000.
No, it was 1997.
No, Jin-Roh was 1987. This was 2000.
Hold on, I'm gonna confirm
sorry.
this
I'm
right
sorry.
now.
Because
There-
Jin-Roh was one of the last traditionally animated anime movies, so it was all produced on cells, 80,000 or something like that. I think Akira was 160.
Yeah, you're right. I'm thinking 90s because there was another Vampire Hunter D. movie
Yes,
that
so
in
there
the
was
90s.
originally a OVA of Vampire Hunter D, which adapted the first book of the novels.
Okay. That's
This
what I'm
adapts
thinking of.
volume 3, and there's like an audio drama that adapts the second one, but they're not like interconnected. You don't need to see any of them.
Okay.
They're all
Okay.
different, staff.
I didn't feel like I was left out just watching this.
No, I
No,
mean the
it's very
film
good.
just fucking starts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just kind of throws you in, but in a good way. I
Yeah.
wasn't confused. I'm like, yeah, let's just take me for the ride. Let's see what happens.
Just get right in there.
Yeah.
I love how it opens with this very classic kind of horror opening where you're kind of going through the street, you see all these like rooftops and the crosses, and then it opens, we see like the girl, and then it opens up with the hanging upside down vampire, and she gets like swept away, and I'm like, that's so like classic Hammer horror
Oh, yeah.
type film.
Not even just that, I got like vibes of like very classic horror, like Universal Monsters
Yeah.
sort of vibes.
There's a lot of inspiration from Dracula and stuff like that. There was a lot of aesthetic influence from Francis Ford Coppola's
That makes
Dracula.
so much sense.
Yeah. Obviously a lot of influence from the original 19.
When you say original, how
The
far
first
back?
one with speaking.
Yeah, 1930.
Bela Lugosi.
Oh, Bela Lugosi.
Yeah. I struggled to remember his name there.
One of the first sound movies, if I remember correctly.
Yes. And Melina did not know who he was.
Correct.
As we found out.
You
Yes.
disgust me.
We were playing Jackbox the other night, and Bela Lugosi, it came up with people to have played Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman, Bela Lugosi, and then someone who didn't play him, and she didn't know who Bela Lugosi was.
Correct.
Shameful.
Disgust me.
Absolutely shameful.
Yeah.
He's the Dracula.
He was so much. He was such an iconic part of the role. They actually, I don't know if this is an urban legend. They actually buried him in the Dracula cake.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good for him.
Yes.
Respect his name.
Well,
About the movie. So I don't want to spoil Jin-Roh, but the way they start, it's so like
different.
complete,
yeah.
and it's like the Vampire D just throws you in, but you can follow. It's mainly action, so your brain is kind of
Woohoo.
Hell yeah.
fully
Neuron
turned off.
activation.
Yeah, stimulation.
While Jin-Roh reminded me of fucking Metal Gear Solid.
It does have this like really
They give
long.
you this 10 minute like exposition sequence, and like I don't know what.
I had
going
to
on.
restart so many times. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
We were going through. I'm like, are you lost? I'm like, I'm so lost.
Yeah, I was like, while Vampire D is just like
There you go. I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
fun. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the thing is like Jin-Roh could have been way more concise, because in all of the stuff they say in that like opening 15 minutes, all you need to know is social unrest, riots, fascist police.
I still don't know what was going on.
No,
Yeah, the general world
I don't
didn't
know
click
what
with
they
me.
were
We're talking about
testing.
Jin-Roh now. We started talking about Vampire
we'll get
D.
to Jin-Roh. Vampire Hunter D. So it's a very kind of, it's just like a bit of an adventure
Yeah.
movie, and you kind of move from one action set piece to the next with like some kind of
Exactly.
quiet moments. There's not much of a character to D, but I think that works.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Well,
Yeah.
What's the name of the half? What's the name
Dun-
of
The Dun Peel.
Dun Peel.
Funny name. Just
Funny,
gonna
isn't
say.
it?
I don't know where that comes from. I don't know why he's called a Dun Peel. It never explains.
No, it's just they're called the Dun Peel. I'm like, okay, why?
They
That's
just
it.
are.
There are. I'm
And then I
like,
was like, is
Okay.
the D? Does the D stand for dumb?
That's what I've always
I-
wondered.
Yeah.
I was like,
I
was like,
assumed
oh,
that after a
D's
while.
Dracula.
no.
Yeah.
And I was like, the
I'm-
first guy was Dracula. I was like, oh, that's like a retelling of Dracula, but no, it's the mayor, like mayor.
Well, Mayor's like the villain in this one,
Yeah.
but I think Dee's dad was a vampire. He was the king of the vampires, so I think you're left to assume
It's
it was
implied
Dracula.
it's a sort of Dracula
Yeah.
a la carte story, just to go into Castlevania
Yeah.
for a second. Because that's
It does
basically
have
all.
a very Castlevania.
Yeah, with Dracula falling in love like a human and a half ling song. I
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
what the term is.
Yeah.
Dun Peel.
And usually, they leave a lot of stuff to your imagination.
Yeah.
And usually, I want to know, like, why do you just, just leave me here with no explanation? But I feel like since it was like so like an action movie.
Yeah.
I really didn't care.
I think it went more for atmosphere
Yeah,
than anything else.
yeah.
And I think if I had over-explained it, it would have been too much.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Because he has the hand.
Yeah, which comes out of
I
nowhere.
forgot about it.
At
Yeah,
some
No
point,
explanation.
you
Yeah.
hear someone talking, and the subtitles just because we watch it with subtitles on as well. It says left hand. Says it. I'm like, what the fuck?
He doesn't get a name. He's just left hand.
I had to turn the subtitles on for the hand so many times because he's always talking like this.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
because he's a fucking hand.
Okay, I don't feel stupid for doing that because I was like, oh, I need to put subtitles on for this even though it's dubbed.
I rewound so many times like, what the fuck did he just say?
He sort of mumbles.
Well, he's a hand, so he's
Yeah.
always like being
Yeah.
forced to grip something because
And
D
he-
just doesn't want to listen to it.
No.
Yeah, they just mentioned he's a parasite, but I don't know if they meant like, oh, you're a parasite, as in
I don't want you.
I don't want you,
Yeah.
or it's an actual parasite.
Like a literal
some
thing.
weird. Yeah.
I read so I have the collector's edition of this, and it comes with like a little booklet, and I mean little, it's like 4 pages, and it mentions symbiont, and I'm like, okay, I know what symbiote means,
Venom.
Yeah.
but this has an N after the O, so it's SYMBIONT, symbiont.
Symbiont.
I'm reading that, and I'm like, thanks, you've given me a word I don't know the meaning to, and just not explained.
know.
Because
The
you said-
thing.
is it part of an extended thing? You said like an extended
Um,
series, or
The books, I think, there's like 40 of them in Japan. I think most of them are translated in English, and I own most of them. And I had been planning, when we cover this, read the first book.
Yeah. You've had so
I
much
get-
time.
I have.
I guess they explain.
I
something
would hope
to-
in the first volume they kind of explain this.
Yeah,
No, they're just like, here's the left hand. He talks.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
yeah. Because
Yeah.
if you imagine if it was like Jin-Roh, they give like this 20-minute explanation at the beginning. I was like, no, but this is fun. I mean, yeah, and I feel the pacing was so fast that they have characters that appear for 2 minutes and they die.
I forgot
Yeah.
about that because I'm like watching it. I've maybe seen like the first 30 minutes or something like that, and I'm watching it and I'm like, oh yeah, those characters, and then they just immediately died, and I'm like,
Oh, those
oh,
characters.
okay.
Yeah, because I feel because it was so fast paced.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
want to have more like character development, you needed like the movie to be 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have characters that show up and you're like, oh, he's dead. Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
Nice
Like
knowing
you
that guy.
have it when he goes for a horse, and like you have the old guy who like
Yeah.
sells him it. There's just this really extended scene where he goes through his whole backstory of how he was rescued by D as a kid, but the actual characters in the movie that we spend the whole time with barely get any actual exposition.
That's true.
D
Yeah.
is just standing there next to the horse for the whole sequence.
He's just got the fucking Mike Wazowski like face. Of
Yeah,
just,
it's just like, oh god.
With his massive shoulder pads.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
With the little thing that's so
Yeah.
funny.
Also, his mom. But we have like I think a small segment where he sees his mom.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
the
And so-
hallucination sequence.
The mom calls him D. Did they name their child a letter? We were joking about it. What was the fake name we gave?
Dungo.
Dungo. We said his
Might
name
as
is
well.
Dungo.
Come forward, Dungo.
The thing is, you say they wouldn't call their child just a letter, but it's anime. That's like
Yeah,
the
they would be accepted.
least
If they
weird
called
thing.
it a number.
But
they
No,
Zulu.
that's happened in anime I've watched before as
It
well.
would be accepted. Like
no, I was-
3.
hello 14. No, it just felt weird because of all letters, D.
Yeah, it's not aged particularly well.
No.
In the
yeah, I made like the joke when the moment he first like tells his name to like the other hunters, like I forget the Marcus something or whatever.
Oh
asked.
yeah, yeah.
Asked
What's
him
the
like,
buff?
"Hey, what's your name? We should be friends." And he's just like D, and he just leaves. And all I can think of is Marcus is just thinking, "Did he just call me a dick?"
But he's
Very politely.
There's this
Yeah.
immediately like really long conversation where they're like, "Oh my god, it's that famous hunter D," and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like he's not going to be someone who wants to be well known because he's
Yeah. I
you know,
mean, you know-
rejected from society.
Once you've been around for as long as he is, you kind of
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like you don't
Implies,
realize just how long he's been around until the end.
Oh, yeah.
where you see the funeral of the person he was with the entire movie, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
feel
you
like-
meet her little granddaughter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a gut punch to end the movie.
I
on.
was just like, excuse me? Excuse me, you can do this. You can make the thing that was going to make me sad and then not happen, but then it happens and it made me feel bad.
I need to talk about like the last 20 minutes.
The Castle of Illusion.
I don't want to say the rocket ship reminds me of Mystery of Mamo, but
Oh,
it definitely.
dead. I seen that and I'm like, please don't. Don't do it to me again.
The flash angles remind me of Mom.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
there
there
was
was-
a lot of
yeah,
flashing.
that's,
Like there
Uh,
was a particular sequence that was so flashy, and I was like, if I suffered from seizures,
Oh, yeah,
I would
yeah.
have died.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
100%.
Weirdly, like I mentioned, Mamo has like a warning at the beginning of it, and Vampire
Yeah.
Hunter D did not have it. And I'm
no,
like,
it should.
yeah,
It should.
Kawajiri normally does that sort of thing in his stuff, but it's not like Vampire Hunter D isn't his normal like color palette. It's normally way darker. There's a lot of blue. It's more at night, and so flashing lights are kind of less intense because they're
Yeah.
not, you know, bright on bright. And this
Yeah.
was like white light, like you're gonna see God.
Yeah.
But the design of the castle is amazing.
Oh yeah,
like
I
you know
love
the
that.
gothic
It
romanticism.
looks a lot like
style.
a cathedral I saw in Sevilla.
Yeah.
It's
Sorry,
very
yeah.
real to. It looks very real to life. But I hated that the rocket also looked like it. It just made
Yeah.
it look like
When it launched, I was like, really?
you paid too much for the design of it.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
could have done this so much cheaper.
She had a lot of time. She maybe built it herself. Although she was dead.
Yeah, that's the thing. So the actual villain of the movie.
Yeah, I was a bit lost.
Oh yeah, we were
Carmella.
all, I
So
think, lost
the
at the
woman, the woman in the tomb,
Carmel.
the
Carmella.
Carmella.
she was the same
person that
lady that we saw.
Yeah.
yeah,
you know,
she like
welcoming
shows
them
up
in
and
the
greets them
castle.
at the castle, and then
So
it's her,
she was an illusion.
I think
Yeah,
so.
I think that's the implication.
Ah.
But
This-
why the plan? Why did she just grab some random people and
I don't know.
that'd be like, you know, give them an illusion? Or something. Be like, come in the castle. It's a, you know, it's safe.
castle.
Or like,
Shut
it's
the
a-
fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
She's like, I
It
paid
worked.
$10 million. How? If you're an illusion, how did
Tax.
you?
Excuse
No,
me.
but like,
could it be
if
tax?
she's an illusion, how,
Look, she's not gonna resurrect herself with random people. She's gonna get fancy. She's
Yeah.
gonna go all out.
Get the
Yeah.
princess
so
type
I was like,
of girl.
maybe
Yeah.
she was, was she?
Well, she was just
What
the
should-
girl.
Yeah,
She was just a girl.
She was
Oh
just a
yeah,
girl.
just the girl. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
See, that's
So did she want to like resurrect into the girl? Did she want to like
Yeah, that's
possess
what I
her?
was like. Oh, that would make sense. No, pretty girl, I suppose. Whatever, fine. And then she just this bloody monster,
Yeah,
literally,
yeah.
just gets out. I'm like, oh, that just kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
yeah. There are so many things. It's so fast. There are so many things that you don't register what's happening.
No,
Like the girl, one of the three, the baddies. You know, the tree girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
She
yeah,
just
yeah.
dies because of a
lightning.
lightning.
strike.
But I'm like,
Yeah.
was it intent? Was it someone?
It's kind
that
of like,
struck?
is it God?
Yeah, I was like, are we gonna go? Is it God gonna show up?
I genuinely burst out laughing when that happened
Yeah.
because I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, great! She pissed off Zeus."
Right. So
They also do not like fit with the aesthetic
No.
of the movie whatsoever.
We're
You
gonna
have
talk about
her,
Werewolf Man.
Werewolf tummy?
man.
they look like
not
bad DC
yeah.
villains.
Yeah.
I said to Shaun that they look like they're from like a 90s fighting video game, and he was like, yeah, they look like from Darkstalkers. And I'm like, fuck, that's it. They
Yeah.
look exactly like they belong
True.
in there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Tree Lady is like a character design ripped straight out of Darkstalkers.
Oh yeah, because there's like a cat girl
Yeah.
type person that like looks very close.
Yeah,
She's just
yeah.
like blue rather than green.
Yeah, yeah, I know
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird. There's a lot of characters that don't necessarily like. I didn't know who they were or
No.
what their names were.
No.
They were just kind of fighting D, and I'm like,
The werewolf guy just cracks me up.
oh yeah, he's
What?
not a
It's like-
werewolf. It's just stomach.
Yeah.
Stomach is mouth,
It's
And
the
his
stomach.
mouth.
but hand is also mouth.
It's the stomach that got bit. The rest just got pulled in.
Yeah.
God,
Also,
yeah.
D defeats Carmella by sucking her up with the hand.
Yeah. Nom.
What?
It's
I
Kirby.
know.
yeah,
It's Kirby.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
what I
like
thought
that,
when,
like
he was, when he
Kirby.
was sucking the shadow
yeah.
thing. I was like, that's Kirby. Yeah, that's what it
It's
is.
Kirby.
Could you imagine if, like, when he did that, he like gained part of the power of
That would be
yeah.
hilarious.
Like his hand just turns into like Carmella.
That would
See,
have been
that
an
would've
amazing
been
ending.
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like she's forced to be in. I would watch the sequel if that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we talk about the fact that like Meyer, that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
He gets cut in half.
And then just comes
And
back.
then just comes back.
I think that was an illusion, though. I think that's like the
that would make
implication
sense,
because
yeah.
of how much weird
Shit
and illusionary
Okay.
shit happens.
Because it felt like that was the real one. Because there's also an illusion of him in like the mirror to trick the girl. at some point.
Oh yeah, because like when you actually
yeah.
see like behind Meyer, he's not in the mirror.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
that's
Yeah.
by the way, basically Phantom of the Opera. They have a whole sequence where the Phantom's in the mirror and she goes in the mirror.
There's also a part of the film where half of his face gets burnt as well.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because he goes out in the daylight and just combusts.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's what happens
Is it
to
called
vampires.
heat disease?
Heat disease, that's it, yeah. That's
Or
what I
just
think Dun
being a
Peel...
vampire.
I think that's what happens to Dun Peels, because they're half and half, they have some resilience. It's kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Blade.
He just
Yeah.
gets very tired.
Yeah, he just
I have to dig a hole. And just bury
Yeah.
I
myself.
must dig a hole.
I must return to dirt.
And then it was so funny when he was actually under the dirt and he just has his head sticking
Oh,
out.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like he's
And
getting like a
is it just-
spa.
He's having this very emotional conversation with
Yeah.
what's her name, where she's like
Layla, I think.
Layla, and she's
yeah.
like explaining her backstory, how it's really sad, all of her family's dead, and he's just like neck
sucks.
deep.
Girl. Oh my god. Yeah.
That's interesting,
also
but I sure don't care.
But here's the thing: did they dig the hole and then someone put the dirt on? How did he do it by himself? He just goes-
hand.
I imagine like maybe Layla helped him dig a
Yeah,
hole, and
well,
then he just lay down. He's like, could you just,
Well, I mean,
could you just kick it over me? It's fine. Just kick it.
I think that's implied because like she says after that, like, huh, I guess that balances us out. Like we're even now
Yeah.
because he helps her earlier in
Ah.
the movie.
Yeah,
I feel like I would have liked to see her just kick some dirt.
That would have been great.
I also love that scene because she's like, my life has been nothing but suffering, and you've just like, you know, you're talking to a guy shunned from society just for the very fact he's alive.
That's
Yeah.
rough, buddy.
It's like,
that
oh my
all.
god, I am struggling, and he's like, bitch, I am struggle.
Talks from dirt.
yeah, it was just there in dirt.
I send that image of like Mel Gibson talking to like the guy who played Jesus all bloody.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
I totally forgot I was just in the dirt.
in the dirt.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like her parents got killed, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
I think they were killed by vampires.
Yeah, so killed by vampires. She's telling her story to have vampire guy who's been alive for way too long at this point. He's like, oh yeah.
I've heard this variation
Yeah.
of this story like 50 times.
Yeah, at this point, he's just fully out. Like, yeah, we know vampires kill.
He's
you.
just
I'm a
lying there
hunter.
like, why do they always tell me that?
Every time I'm in the
You should get a
dirt.
therapy license.
Does this look like a therapist chair?
I do not have enough emotional range to give you therapy.
Yeah, just that would have been such a great offhand comment. It's like, my rate is too high for you. I'm sorry.
But that's true. I think he's the least fleshed out character in the whole movie.
Yes.
You don't know.
But it works.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that's-
no, it
yeah.
works. I think it's a choice. Like you know, it's like the video games, the voice like Gordon Freeman. You know, it's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the faceless, the
Yeah.
voiceless hero. It's like it's you. You know, identify it.
Yeah.
If the rest of the world and like side characters have enough character to them, it can sort of excuse that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I feel.
Oh, for sure.
And I think the world itself has just enough there to carry the movie.
Because to go with
Yeah.
like video games, like the best example I can think of is like Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Link is a plank of wood. He has no personality whatsoever, but every other character is so full of life in that game that it makes up for it tenfold.
I was going to compare Breath of the Wild, but yeah, some of the people don't have character in that.
Hey, Flower Lady has lots of character.
Let's not talk about Flower Lady. Why did they design her like that?
They wanted to. Anyway.
Is there anything? I feel like there was something else I was going to say, and I've totally blanked on what it was.
Why is it always the vampire
yeah.
man with the woman girl? Can we
It's
have?
the story all
we
this
tried
time.
to
Yeah.
we tried to think about is there ever be like a female vampire?
Because I just love the power imbalance of it. It would be great to have this strong female vampire and like wimpy looking dude.
That is
I would
someone's
love
kink,
that.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
100%.
Isn't that Hotel Transylvania?
I've never watched.
I've never seen Hotel Transylvania.
I've seen
I
the
have
first
seen
one
all
as a
of
kid.
them. Can confirm. Yes.
Okay.
Ish. But they're
Ish.
both like teenagers.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
Whoa. What?
Like it's
Well,
how
I mean,
you have
she's
big
like
Dracula.
118.
You have Dracula and his daughter dates
Okay.
a human guy.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
she is of course older, but implied to be a child.
Yeah, in terms of vampire age.
Okay, so they don't pull like the
the
anime.
The lowly. Oh, she's actually a demon.
She's actually a demon that's like
10,000
10,000 years old, but she looks like a 4-year-old.
Wait, they have kids though. In one of the movies.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, like 3 movies in, I think they.
Is it Disney or DreamWorks?
Oh, I don't know.
I think
I
it's
think
like
it's-
Transylvania Illumination.
I think it's
I think-
Illumination.
yeah. I think it's
Illumination.
Yeah.
Even worse.
I've only seen the first one, but I know enough about the other two.
I think I've seen 3. Is there? I don't know if there's a 4th.
I think there's 3 of them as far
think
as
there's
I'm
There,
aware.
I think
There's
there's
a
one on a
series.
cruise ship, and I haven't seen the one on a cruise ship. Have I seen one on a cruise ship? I think I've seen the one on a cruise ship as well. Because it ends with, we must play the song that everyone can dance to. And I think it's the Macarena.
Are we sure? Are we sure this isn't Alvin and the Chipmunks shipwrecked?
It could be.
How many Hotel Transylvania?
We're gonna look this up right now.
But I would like to see, like,
Transylvania series.
I think at least 3.
Yeah, there is a series.
See,
4 feature
Adam Sandler,
films.
4
that's where you
feature
know
films.
that's going wrong.
Oh god, he's so there's Hotel Transylvania 1, 2, 3 Summer Vacation,
I've seen Summer.
and Hotel Transylvania Transformania.
I haven't seen Transformania. It's on
I
the
don't know
watch
which
list.
one's on a cruise ship.
And a TV series as well. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I imagine
What?
Summer Vacation would be on the cruise
There's a
ship.
television
Yeah, Summer
series.
Vacation's on the cruise ship.
Yeah.
It ran for 3 years. That's 3 years too long.
God.
The thing is,
That's too
I've only
much.
watched the first one, but I liked that movie. It's a
It was
good movie.
fun, yeah.
I don't know about the sequels or the series, but I liked the first one.
I don't think it's Illumination. I think it's Sony.
Ooh.
It is. It's Columbia Pictures, Sony Animation, and Sony Imageworks.
We can get this in Spider-Verse.
Oh god.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. But yeah, would like to see more. More woman
Yeah,
vampire strong, man small.
Write it.
Oh, maybe.
A vampire that would just fucking kill me.
We're coming back to the.
It always comes back to that meme.
I just woke up this morning and thought, why can't I meet a woman that would just fucking kill me?
So, the scores?
I'd give this a solid 8.
I'd give this a 7. I love the movie, but there's some things holding it back that keep it from
Yeah.
being like an 8 for me.
Yeah, I'm in the middle, like 7.5. Yeah.
Yeah, same. 7.5. Yeah.
I'd probably have gone higher if, like, because I really like Yoshiaki Kawajiri's work. I'd have gone higher if, like, the last act wasn't so fucking confusing.
That's
Yeah.
the thing that pulls it down for me.
Yeah.
Also, the music was.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
The soundtrack for both of these movies were actually really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like both of these movies have great soundtracks and I'd say great animation as
Yeah.
well. Like this one specifically, I could sort of do it like what I think a lot of people do for Akira, where they don't listen to the story or anything. They just put it on as a visual journey.
Yes. Yeah.
The castle sequence. I actually had to go and rewind when they go on the bridge, and there is this choir, and they go. It's like this glissando, and it goes down. I was like, that's incredible. Like, it's really hard to do as a
Yeah.
choir singer. You have to know the pitch and everything.
It's,
And I was like, that's so
You got so
good.
excited. I was like, oh, I have to do this again.
I think it was a black mass choir. I think they used for that or something. I read.
Nice.
Cool.
Because I was like, oh yeah, this. And I totally forgot about that section until I was like reading about the soundtrack. I guess we'll transition into Jin-Roh now. But like, when I was watching, I just let the credits roll. I was just sitting there like, just fucking contemplating life. And the first track kind of ends where it's like this singer doing shit, and then it goes into this other piece, and I'm like, this sounds like the Lost Boys soundtrack. I was like, I can't unhear this now.
I don't think it was good.
I don't know if we did.
I just kind of let them run most of the time when I finish watching, because I'm
yeah.
just like sitting there like,
What the fuck?
Yeah, for general, I let it run because I was also contemplating my entire existence.
yeah, and you
in that
haven't seen
moment.
Lost Boys, so you can't back
No.
me up on this.
I'll get there.
Yeah, you'll get there. It's good. It's not like horror, and it was Joel Schumacher before he.
I'm
fucked
learning
up
to
Batman.
to live with horror. I feel so.
Like I say though, it's not horror. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's very. There's a word, but I'm drawing a blank. I'll look it up when we're
Thriller?
not recording this. Not a thriller.
Spooky. It's spooky.
But yeah, Jin-Roh.
Let's just say it didn't start very well.
I know.
No.
You see, I think the thing is that opening sequence is the best part of the movie for me.
See, that's the funny thing where I was like, I just need to get through this bit.
Yeah.
I just need to get through it because my brain kept turning off. And then the movie started and it kept turning off again.
Yeah.
That it's that first part because they had something interesting there. They opened it on like an alternate timeline sort of thing.
Which again,
Yeah.
like I said earlier, I think they explained too much of that. I think
Oh,
they could have
yeah.
been far more concise in
Absolutely.
the explanation of that.
But like we get like protest, we get like it almost reminded me of the beginning of Final Fantasy VII in a way.
Oh, okay, I get
not,
that.
not
As
not
I said, it's Metal Gear Solid.
It
like
is
the
very...
style-
Metal Gear Solid as well, yeah.
And
It's-
like the kind of like alternate, like timeline, like war, nuclear warheads, whatever, and it was like I'm playing the ending of Metal Gear Solid 4 again. When it's like 25 minutes of just them talking.
yeah.
And I'm like, first of all, reading, because you have to read subtitles. I was like, what? What do you mean? What is the special? What? I was like, what?
They
What's
throw
going on?
too many terms and groups at you.
Yeah.
Yes. They
And
never
so-
come up again.
No, because I
I
kept
feel
being
like
like,
if
so
they
who are
just-
the wolves?
Yeah.
Who are the wolves?
Out of this entire movie, I still don't understand the fucking structure of any of this.
No.
No, I think, again, just to compare it to something else, it reminds me a lot of the riot scene in Akira.
Oh, yeah,
that
for
too.
sure.
But I didn't want to do it, but I kept comparing this movie to Ghost in the Shell because it was written by Mamoru Oshii and directed by the character designer.
I did read something about this after I
And-
watched the movie.
Yeah, watching it again, I'm like, oh, Hiroyuki Okiura has just tried to steal Mamoru Oshii's style for this movie. And it's not worked
No.
whatsoever.
Watch Ghost in the Shell.
Watch Ghost
It's
in the
far
Shell.
better.
It has that quiet, contemplative, there's a lot of quiet moments where you can kind of catch
Yeah.
up with what's been going on, kind of digest and think about what is human. Am
Yeah.
I human?
What is
And then
human?
this kind of tries to do the same thing, but then it doesn't work.
No.
No.
Because, like, from what I gathered from the beginning, I was like, okay, robot police, sure, can roll with that.
But they're
and
not
then
robots.
They're not
No, they're
robots.
mechs.
Like, it
Kind of.
takes,
It's
like,
suits,
it's
like,
just a
a
suit,
hell-
it's an armor
basically.
suit.
I,
yeah.
kept, I kept thinking of
Hellguest.
no, I was actually thinking of Fallout.
Oh,
kept
yeah.
thinking
Yeah,
of
like
Killzone.
power armor.
Killzone, yeah. It's
Specifically, the New Vegas sort of Ranger troopers,
Ah,
because they
yeah,
have the
yeah.
same sort of red eyes thing.
Yeah.
But it was like a mix between that and the normal
I think
power
the
armor.
Hellguest for Killzone. I
We
think this
looked them
movie
up
was an
afterwards.
inspiration.
I think so.
Because it's the same. It's the exact same.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it looks really cool. And then you barely see them. Not
Yeah,
barely,
you see
but,
them in the start and then kind of only
At the end,
sparsely and then
yeah.
at the end, yeah.
And I was,
Oh, yeah.
I kept comparing it to Metal Gear Solid as we were watching. But the thing is, with Metal Gear Solid, you have these plot twists that you don't expect. Whilst this movie, it was so clear from the start. He was a wolf.
Yeah.
The girl was like, she was a
She was
plant,
in on it,
whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know.
It tries to
twist
be
really
clever.
didn't do
It
for
tries to
me.
be clever and pull
Yeah.
a double twist, but you can clearly see
Yeah.
what's happening.
'Cause
Yeah.
we were talking about it in the concept of, oh, I put poison in your cup. Well, I knew you were gonna put poison in a cup, so
And
I
I
put
switched
anti-poison. But then I switched the anti-poison.
What
Yeah.
would have made it a lot less clear that both of those things were going to happen is if they didn't have the fucking Little Red Riding Hood comparison going on
Yeah.
the entire time.
I love the comparison, but
It
I
loses
didn't
itself at
work.
the
Yeah.
end.
we
though.
said
Yeah.
we said the theme is nice. Like it's
Yeah.
a nice parallel, but it's so on your.
It's so on the nose. It's,
Yeah.
in your face constantly. So I'm like,
and then at the
doesn't
end, it
work.
just doesn't make any sense anymore.
no, she
No.
just starts saying, and the mom, she said this.
Yeah, they're
I'm
like reading stuff,
huh.
and I'm like, that's not Little Red Riding
yeah,
Hood
yeah,
at
yeah.
all.
She's like the mom that they're eating the flesh. Like, is this
Yeah.
the Grim? Because maybe it's the Grim version.
Maybe it's
I
the
was wondering if it was the original
original.
Grimm's Brothers one, but
Yeah,
I
'cause
was like,
And I was
No,
like,
it's
what-
grandma.
but
It's
was
the
it
grandma.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's the mom that sends Red Riding Hood to the grandma, but
Yeah.
here she goes from somewhere else to the mom,
Yeah.
and then she eats the flesh.
But even then, like, I could understand it up until that point, but then the ending thing happens, and like they're still reading, and I'm like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
it was so confusing. I had to go. I never do this, but I had to go on the Wikipedia page.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what has happened? What is the plot? And then it's a part of like a multi-story kind of thing. Like the
Yeah,
Kerberos
so
saga or
the
something?
Kerberos saga, which is the very literal writing of the Japanese pronunciation of Cerberus.
Yeah.
It's a series created by Mamoru Oshii. He wrote several manga series on it, and then he directed 2 live action films, Red Spectacles, and I can't remember the name of the other one. But they're not like all distinctly
Connected.
tied to each other.
Oh right. Because I thought maybe I'm missing
Yeah, I kind of
context.
thought that as well, but I think it's like they're all kind of standalone works.
So it's
Yeah.
confusing just for the sake of
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think originally it was intended to be a 6-episode like OVA series, and so I think if we had got that and it was maybe more expanded and we got more, time to
Yeah.
develop everyone, I think it would have made more sense. And originally it was intended to be directed by Oshii, and I'm like,
Right.
fucking wish that had happened.
I like the art. It was really realistic. And
Yeah, I like the
when,
grounded.
when people in anime look very Japanese, I'm always a bit, oh, this looks good, because it's like they're like, the
Yeah,
stereotypical
they're not
Sailor
big-eyed
Moon.
and
Yeah.
And I was so disappointed because the art style was good. How they
Especially
were
for
killed, like
yeah,
the it was so gory but realistic.
Uh-huh.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like it wasn't.
the good.
They
gore,
just they
yeah.
get trashed around. It was like, oh, that's really it's good. It shows there's skills.
Uh-huh.
I was like, damn. But it was so disappointing. The story was just convoluted. Not even convoluted. It was just like.
it wanted to be
confusing.
convoluted and then just
Yeah,
wasn't.
as I said, it reminded me of Metal Gear Solid if it fell flat.
Uh-huh.
Because Kojima managed at least the first four
Kojima.
games
Kojima.
to pull the twist and the plot makes sense kind of.
Kind of.
While
Yeah.
this one was like didn't do it for me. at
There are
all.
times in Metal Gear Solid 4 where I'm just watching cutscenes and I'm like,
I know.
I've been here for an hour and I don't know what's happening.
Now, you don't know anything about
have
it.
no
but
idea.
Metal Gear Solid 4 is, I think, the worst of the original 5 games.
Yeah.
Because it's just there's so he had this massive story
Yeah.
about nuclear, all Holocaust scare and everything. That's the theme in the end,
Yeah.
And then he was like, I cannot explain. I need another game to explain
Yeah.
everything I want it to be, talking about.
Yeah.
So the ending is just 25, 40 minutes, or I don't know, of cutscenes, and you're just supposed to be there and absorb all this
Oh,
It
information.
won an award for having the longest cutscenes in video games. I think the
I
longest
don't think
one
that's something you want.
in isolation is something like 90 minutes or an hour and 45. And in total, it's something like 12 or 13 hours worth of
my
cutscenes.
Which is a
And it's
shame.
not a long game in
I
terms
know,
of
I was
gameplay.
about to
It's
say,
like
look.
6 hours to play through,
This
but
is-
you have to sit through all the cutscenes.
It's shit like this is the reason why I know about Metal Gear Solid, and I know the general story-ish, but like I haven't actually played any
The
of
first
the
3
games.
games aren't like that whatsoever.
No,
It's just
no.
4.
There is like a lot of like he sees a lot of information
Uh-huh.
that comes to fruition in the 4th, but the 4th is so long and like not even long. The exposition is so long. You just kind of okay.
Yeah.
If you know like Ocelot, you get the ending of Ocelot, and he's been present in all games, right? But you just kind of accept it.
Yeah.
How it ends and then okay, and it feels a bit like kind of like this, kind of lets you down, but still it does it way better than this movie. I'm sorry. Metal
on a
Gear
weird
Solid,
tangent there.
I can just go and
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
I think the art style definitely helped with its
Yeah.
realism. Like it fit the, not apocalyptic necessarily, but the riots and
The sort of period as well, because it's like it's
Yeah.
in like the 50s.
I think it's maybe it's late 50s, early 60s ish.
Yeah, roundabout. Which so the sort of art style fits into like that vibe of like the era, even in this like alternate timeline.
Yeah.
what's up with German? Why do you read in German?
Oh yeah, there's
I
a
was like,
letter in
maybe-
German.
No, even the book.
The book's
It's
in
in
German.
German.
Oh, the book's
Yeah,
in
the
German
book's
as well.
I was
yeah.
going to ask if it was in German because I'm looking at it and
It
like
is.
I was like, is it? Because when I was like, is it the Grimm's brothers one? I was like, maybe it's they were Dutch.
I don't think they
German,
were
I think.
Dutch. I think they were German.
Were they German?
Yeah.
I was like, is it German? And I'm like reading it and I'm like, it
That
kind
is
of looks
German.
German, but it doesn't look German at the same time.
Apart for some reason, part of me was like, is that Russian?
Russian's written in Cyrillic.
I know there was just something about
Very
this-
identifiable.
I know. I'm not saying I was confident with it. I was just like,
It was
But
a running
is it?
thought.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
thought even Vampire Day, I think it's a point there's a piece of writing. And I think it's in German as well.
Oh,
yeah, that's. I
yeah.
think that's what I was thinking of with the letter.
Ah.
This
Yeah, I
is,
think it was like
yeah,
it was
yeah.
it was in German, yeah. And I don't know why. I was like, why? 'Cause I
It's
also
a
watched
weirdly
Monster.
common thing in some
Yeah,
anime.
I watched Monster recently,
Oh, I've been watching through some of that. That's set in
and I was
Germany.
like, "It's in Germany. What's up with Japanese? Why are you obsessed with German?"
Yeah,
Like,
there's
the
also
language.
there's an anime called Legend of the Galactic Heroes, which is like set in like space and stuff. And
They all speak German.
no, but it's like one of the both the Empire, the Imperial side is like very like not First Reich, but like Imperial Germany, like pre
Okay, Prussia,
kind of World
kind of
War
Prussia.
One.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is weird. Why are they dressed like that? And they're in space.
yeah. Isn't it also Attack on Titan's also in Germany as well?
Attack on
Oh,
Titan
yeah.
uses German aesthetic design.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because I know definitely like the buildings or like the
Yeah,
houses
it's
inside
very-
the areas are very German.
Let's not talk about Attack on Titan though. 'Cause
I didn't want to bring it up too much because I knew you'd get that
there's,
reaction. but
there's some concerning things about designs in Attack on Titan when it comes to Titans. There's a few
we want-
anti-Semitic
no,
things in there.
let's move on.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we talked about it during the movie. The whole beginning sequence where they're following the girl in the sewer could have been intermixed with when the guy was in front of the council to
Yes.
describe it.
I was like,
yeah.
if,
With-
they,
that
if they
could
mix them
work.
together, like it works. But this, what
Doing it
he's
here,
in front of was it the
here.
council?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
a council,
Yeah.
like,
The Board of
The Board of
Inquiry,
Inquiry.
Yeah.
They still cut
And
back to it as well, and I'm just like,
And I'm like,
We
we
just
watched
10 minutes ago.
We watched this 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think we could have had it like bit more interspersed there, because then it wouldn't have started as slow.
I think they wanted to intercut it with like the scenes of the main riot, but again, I think they could have also
They could
worked that into
Yeah.
the Board of
Like,
Inquiry
it
thing.
feels like even like storytelling wise, it would have been so much better. It starts with him, and you're like, what's happening? Instead of the 10 minutes of this happened.
Here's the
in
girl.
Japan.
I'm like, oh, go girl,
yeah.
go
It
bomb.
wants to
And I'm like,
start-
oh, you're dead. Oh,
It wants to start in media res, but it doesn't start in the right position to do that well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
it gets off on the wrong foot.
Yeah.
yeah. I just watching her die, I was like, well, there goes who I thought was the main
main
character.
character,
Yes. And then the girl they choose to be her sister, because she's not her sister,
Yeah, as soon as I saw
kind
her
of looks
carry,
nothing like her.
I thought, like, when you saw, I was like, I guess,
That's
sure.
why we chose her. She looked like her. I'm like,
No.
You just sort of gave
That's
her
a
a similar
stretch.
haircut, and that's
Yeah.
it.
No,
Like,
the
You
way they
gave her a
establish it
satchel,
is
and
that
I was like,
when
oh,
you-
that's gonna have a
yeah,
bomb.
when he's hallucinating and he sees,
she turns around
And
and
I'm
he
like-
sees the girl.
I was like, you can clearly tell they're not. the
It's
same.
not the same, no.
My sister was like,
If they
Are
got
you
like
sure?
a small guy with like a mustache, she's like, he looks so much like her. That's why we chose him.
I also find it hilarious that he knows it's like her grave because there's someone there praying at it, and it's like
how do you know?
yeah, yeah.
so many
know?
people could have been doing this exact thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the reception? Sorry, but what was the reception in Japan? Do you know? Did they like it?
That's a good question. I'm actually not 100% sure. I think the general reception is that it's quite well regarded. And like initially when I first watched this, I gave it an 8. I don't think I'd agree with that now. Again, good question. Reception. Let's have a look. An early commentary on the film was given by Blue Sky animator Andrew. That's not Japan, but okay.
Matone?
He praised it for the beauty of its animation and character design and the subtle and crafty twists. They're not subtle.
No,
They're not
they're,
proud,
really
they're
not.
the opposite of
It's,
subtle.
it could have started out as subtle, but then they just hammer it home throughout the whole
'cause
movie.
as soon as I saw the sister with a satchel, I'm like, well, that's a fucking spy or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this was actually shown in America first. I think they gave early screenings.
Look, if you look at, they all talk about the animation. Oh,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
yeah. They, and it's just see like the action, the music, but they didn't say like.
None of them
okay,
talk
did
about the
they like
story.
it?
Hold on.
Yeah.
It says here, however, the film's slow, deliberate pace is criticized.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wouldn't call this slow and
No.
deliberate,
No.
or not
Which is
slow
boring.
and deliberate,
Yeah.
because Ghost in the Shell is slow and deliberate.
and it works.
But
Yeah.
but I'm actually interested.
Yeah.
There.
Yes, but this isn't slow and interesting. This
Yeah, you
is
said-
slow and meandering.
It's just fucking
Yeah.
slow.
Did you just say I'm just bored?
Yeah,
You said something. I was like, yeah, makes sense.
You just get bored.
yeah.
I didn't care at the climax. I just did
No.
not.
The
care.
thing is, there's a live action like South Korean remake that's
Oh.
on Netflix, and I was like sitting there after the film, and I'm like, I've been meaning to watch this for a long time. I'm not watching it now because I think this is a slightly more interesting plot because the plot revolves
yeah.
around plans to unite the two Koreas.
That looks
Oh.
in a
interesting,
dystopian
actually.
South Korea. That's
Yeah.
actually interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we watch that for the next episode?
I mean, we can dive into live action adaptions. Also, I don't trust much that Helen McCarthy says because she's called it a must see.
Yeah, no, it's
Wait,
a
you really
awards. Did they win any awards? If you scroll down.
Oh yeah. So it was
best Asian film.
One.
Results second.
Oh, second.
nominated.
won a lot.
Second. How'd you get second?
So many
It's
awards.
won quite a few awards, but
Yeah.
Portugal loved this movie.
yeah.
Portugal was like, fuck me up.
This fucks.
Where is Yubari?
Yif.
Hokkaido.
Also
Oh,
sometimes called
Yif.
Yef.
It's called Yif.
It's called Yef.
Yes. Oh no.
Absolutely. Do not.
Just disregard.
No, not
Considering
allowed.
the overall theme of this movie, let's not. Yeah, it's got
On all levels except physical, I am a wolf.
barks.
It's wolf children again.
that was a great movie though.
Yes.
You
Don't
thought my
you dare.
opinions were strong.
Oh, did you not like it?
I could not get past it. I'm sorry, this is a tangent.
Is it
No, no, no.
is it the
I
opening?
think we've said all we could say about Jin-Roh at this
Oh,
point, so I
God,
think
yeah.
we'll quickly go into scores because I do want to talk to you about like some of the other stuff we've watched
Great.
for the show.
That's good. That's good.
So scores for Jin-Roh.
4.5.
I'll give it a 5.
This movie was mid as shit, so I'm giving it the mid score of 5.
I'm giving it a 6 purely on
Understandable.
composition,
Yeah.
animation, music. Story can get in the fucking bin. Yeah. So Manuel, you've had to suffer through most of what we've watched for this podcast with Melina.
There's some you refused.
There were some.
I think yes. I
After
think,
the first
so,
Gundam,
first
he
of all,
refused the
first of all,
others.
that's
That's
fair.
fair.
First of all, with my relationship with anime is a bit. So in Italy we have Lupin is crazy.
Is it Sailor Moon also like pretty big over there?
Yes, my sister is obsessed. She has a whole wall. I'm gonna show you later. She has a whole the wall of Sailor Moon's stuff. But yeah, so you basically come home after school, 3-4 p.m. and on TV you got Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah.
Lupin, One Piece. The One Piece is real. You get
It's the friends we made along the way.
yeah. You know, this kind of it's kind of like a mainstream anime. It was like
It's kind of similar to what we got on kids TV over here, minus Lupin because we sadly never got that.
that's very
Yeah.
very sad.
I'm depressed by that.
Same,
much
yeah,
I would love to have
wish.
grown up with.
But
with
I know, but well, first of all, church. So every
wait,
God came in.
every
Just drop that.
I'll tell you why. The Catholic Church is in Rome.
yeah.
As I'm
as
sure
you
you're
may
aware
know.
of.
And so I remember, a lot of episodes of Dragon Ball are censored, especially the first part because Akira Toriyama's a fucking perv. And you know in the beginning there is
You're not wrong.
an episode
Where you see Goku's penis.
as well, but
What?
Yeah.
where Bulma
All flashes him.
she flashes the turtle master.
Yes.
I don't know the English name.
Hiroshi? Master Roshi.
Melina, I'm so sorry. This is probably your first
And
introduction
in Italy,
to
it
Dragon
was
Ball.
just changed. So basically, what they zoomed on Bulma's face, and you don't see anything. Like, what the fuck is going on? And I knew because I was reading the manga at the time. So I was like, I know what are they doing this? And yeah, of course, it was a lot of stuff. You know, it was like
We kind of got similar.
Day TV show.
We never got Dragon Ball on TV. We got Dragon Ball Z, but that got heavily censored from like blood, and I think
Yeah.
Piccolo's blood color got changed to like green, and I'm like, that's worse. That is
And-
arguably worse.
And the occasional,
Yeah, it's purple.
Yeah.
That's
the
it.
occasional English line added in. Don't worry, everyone's okay.
You also had them just like, if there wasn't anyone like on screen, they would just have them talking anyway. Like if you couldn't see
Might
the
as
lip
well.
flaps, they were just like fill in dialogue or have them scream.
yeah.
But for context of the whole like Bulma flashing Master Roshi, because that sounds so weird out of context.
Oh,
I know.
yeah.
I don't remember why she did
The
it.
whole setup is that she
Oh.
stayed with Goku the night before and he's like stolen her panties or something like that because of like a bet or something they made, and so she thinks she's wearing them and forgets.
I don't think that you
and so
forget.
he agrees to train Goku if she flashes him, and so she flashes him thinking she's wearing her
Yes.
underwear and has nothing on.
That is one, but there's also another one where she's wearing. I don't remember. Okay, so there is an invisible guy, and they need some liquid so you can see him. You know, if you splash people with paint.
Yeah.
And what happens is Master Hiroshi he sprays blood from his nose. When
Yes,
he sees
that's the classic
sexy
anime
stuff.
reaction.
And so she
God.
flashes again. I think when she's wearing. I remember she's wearing like a bunny outfit, like a playboy.
Yes,
And so he sprays blood. Maybe that's. I don't remember. That's what I remember. And he sprays on this guy, and now they can see the guy. I think that's the
sounds
context.
anime.
Yeah,
But
that is-
that's what I was thinking about. I think that when she flashes, the first time, and she thinks she's wearing panties, that's not censored because it's from the back.
yeah.
So it's kind of left to you.
I don't think you see anything even in the original version though when she flashes in the
I think
bunny
in the
suit.
manga you can.
Oh, in the manga you do. That
I
makes
was
sense.
a 10-year-old, so I know.
I've yet to read through the manga.
In the
I'm just
Italian
getting
version,
hung
they just
up
zoomed
on-
on her face and then on his face, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? But you're 10
How do you not know?
You're
How
like
do you
8,
not
you're
know?
like,
No, how do you?
you
As
care
a
about.
character, how do you not know whether you're wearing underwear?
I think she slept with
Oh.
her clothes on. I
Yeah.
think is the context. So she still assumes she's wearing them.
You feel feel the difference. I don't think this is just a female perspective.
No, like, I'm not going to pretend it makes
Do you want
sense.
to discuss the entirety of anime? And
No, thanks.
anyway, so that was my introduction. So I have a thing with anime
Great introduction.
where
That was the intro.
So I know of mainstream stuff, and I watched the Dragon Ball movies because of course, that's what you know.
You
So,
gotta.
you know.
I assume you watch them like in Italian. Then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And the first time I was exposed to English dubs in Dragon Ball Z was the video games
Oh, okay.
Ah.
where they're
makes
not
sense.
dubbed in Italian, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
And you can't really get them in Japanese either.
It's all English.
It's all English, yeah.
And yeah, so I've been exposed to anime, but at a mainstream level, like kind of a normie kind of view on anime. So a lot of the stuff we watched, I think the only things I refused to watch was Gundam. Because
I think after watching the first movie was-
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I cannot.
I don't know if you would have enjoyed the other two, but the pacing and stuff does get better as it
Okay.
Yeah,
goes on.
I think I remember my consensus being every movie in that sort of trilogy gets better.
Yeah.
I didn't want to risk it.
I mean, it's fair. Fundamentally,
Oh, yeah.
if you're not vibing with the first one, I wouldn't recommend the
No.
other
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
What did anything else today?
There's like one or two I watched like by myself because you were busy.
I think a Lupin.
I don't
Cagliostro.
think- Yeah, but we watched that here with the three
Oh,
of
yeah,
us.
yeah.
So
I did
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
that to you guys again if you wanted to refresh, and I think both me and Shaun did at least.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. No. I mean, you've watched some anime with your sister, haven't you? No. I thought you did. No, never
The
mind.
face
then.
of no.
She
Absolutely
likes
not.
anime, but we like completely different stuff. She likes
I was
what
gonna
is it
say-
called? Shoujo? No, shoujo. The
Shoujo.
one for girls. you
Shoujo.
know? Yeah.
Because Shonen is like Dragon Ball Z, One Piece.
Yes.
and
Like
then
shoujo
Shoujo
stuff
is-
and all this stuff that I don't like. But
I mean, you've been asking me to watch Porcoroso for a while.
yeah, but also
Oh,
yeah, and
the-
also
the
yeah, I
Ghibli
know
movie.
of the Studio Ghibli because we watched
course.
Spirited Away and you know when I was a child and stuff. So, but yeah, I don't think there's anything that I refused aside from Gundam.
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, the Wolf Children thing. So the Wolf Children.
Yes.
Oh,
let's-
back to this.
Let's come
I
back to
have,
that.
I have,
Your thoughts?
I have a take on furries that.
Doesn't everyone?
I mean, everyone
really?
has.
Yeah, but you know, I go to physical violence.
Oh
makes sense.
Christ!
What the fuck?
I, if I see, we shoot furries. That's a thing.
Oh,
Cut
wow.
this out.
Aight.
But yeah,
I'm
I
that,
Cut
told
out,
you
man.
my opinions were not very mild.
so I was like, oh, you know, I get the point. But if they had sex without him being a wolf, I would have liked it more.
Yeah, that's the point.
That's
I think
what
the
you said,
I think
yeah.
I think the story's sweet. You know, I get the story,
Uh-huh.
but it's just that thing that it was constantly back in my
It's,
head. I
it's
was like,
very much at the start of the movie, so
Yeah.
you can kind of forget it.
Unless.
unless you're shocked.
On the whole furries thing, I think I'm slightly like, I can't believe we're talking about this.
I have to later.
Okay,
Sorry,
okay.
it's,
I've had the unfortunality of like being friends with people who.
this relates to the thing I want to say.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay.
So for the one of the funny moments I forgot in the interview, I forgot to mention it.
I'm sorry,
One-
I've just left a pair of scissors right in front of you.
one of the funniest moments was like when we were talking about wolf children and it's not a furry thing, and then he said at the end, well, actually, the person that mentioned wolf children was a furry. And I was like,
Yeah.
see,
There
that,
you
that was
go.
one I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, I kind of view it contextually away from the furry fandom.
Yeah. I can understand how.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was introduced to me through someone who was a furry, who probably still is a furry. But
let's-
yeah, I
let's
did
be
have
respectful.
They haven't converted away.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of furries, but I'm a little more tolerant of them because I've known people who are, and like generally it's harmless, I guess.
It's that's the harmless part is very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. I did have to explain to my mum the difference in the suits because there was a thing on TV where like
God.
they talked about like virtual furry sex. Where they like
See, that's-
had VR. He had a machine that he put on and his like partner in America could fucking jack him off with it.
That's
the
that's
fuck?
late stage capitalism.
This was on
It
like
really
Channel
is.
4 in the
Oh,
UK.
God.
And, like prime time TV.
and people are like,
Prime time.
And so I'm like, okay, that could have gone in a much weirder direction as like virtual sex doesn't matter like that I can
Can get past
Uh-huh.
that. Yeah.
and then my mum like was like, what do you mean it could have went in a different direction? And I'm like, oh well, some of them like dress up in like suits and stuff like that and it's kind of weird and they spend a lot of money on them. And so she was like looked it up and she's like,
No.
oh She's like, do they fuck in these? And I'm like,
He said, actually,
I was like, not in those ones. I was like, those are fursuits. If they want to fuck, they have yiff suits, which have openings for the appendages to. I was like, I hate that I know this.
I hate that I didn't
you know,
know this.
I hate that I've
probably
learned
know
now
the-
that I
You probably
know.
know the rainforest video from Internet Historian.
I don't watch
think
Internet
it's-
Historian.
It's really funny. It's a video about the rainforest convention. Was a furry convention, and that's what I got interested in the furry.
Interested.
I don't think you should
Ideology.
just.
Interesting is
And
not
then
the
I went
word.
and
Just gonna air that out right on air.
but then you go into the rabbit hole, like the stuff to do, like cub stuff.
Yeah,
porn.
yeah.
I'm like, that's a bit fucking weird. Like,
Yeah.
like a lot of them, not a lot of them, but you know the zoo files.
Yeah,
And that's the stuff I really don't, and I cannot see past it. I'm like,
There is a whole, subsection that are.
exactly.
The term is bestiality.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, I cannot see past it. But the movie was okay.
It's a good
Let's
movie.
keep moving.
Back to
I'm
Wolf
thinking how the
Children.
fuck did I get off of this?
Any other movies?
Yeah,
you
so are there
liked?
any other movies that stood out as like you really enjoyed them?
I mean, I watched Ghost in the Shell when I was a child, and I didn't get it because I was a child that
It
liked
took me a
Dragon
long
Ball.
time to
It
watch.
like Dragon Ball. It was like, where are the fighting?
Excuse
Where
me.
you know?
Booms. Where the booms?
Yeah, so but rewatching it now, I was like, oh, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
And because it's one of those things, you know, when you watch them, like I didn't get it, but it's my fault because I'm not.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
It wasn't all them.
mature and
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
like it. You know, the genre.
You weren't there yet.
Well, I
Yeah.
had that as well when I first watched it. I think I tried to watch it when I was like 15 or something, and like I was 15. I was like in puberty, and I'm like not looking for that kind of movie.
No.
I
yeah.
fell asleep like try to watch it like 5 times. And
Where the
then eventually-
booms and boobs.
Yeah. And then I was like maybe 19, 20 when I watched it again. I was like, fuck, this is going to become a part of my personality.
Now you own on every format known to man.
Yes, I do. Not
And
Laserdisc.
it's so it's like it's such a seminal movie. Like it's so influential.
Yes.
Influenced so many.
I think that's the
Influenced,
exact
that's
word
a
I
tough
used to
word.
introduce it when we
Yeah.
brought it up in the podcast.
And
Which I'm like, I can't think about the word seminal too much as a word to describe movies because of you then realize what it actually means.
you know, let's say let's keep moving. And,
Yeah.
Another movie that I really liked, you know, it's Perfect Blue.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
Melina's
really-
niche.
That was
My
really
little niche. Movies about the film industry.
Oh right.
You know
Oh,
my
yeah, that's
niche.
true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I'm writing one right now.
I was like, do we have to explain the word niche? Because I was like, I don't know how to do it.
Oh yeah, Perfect Blue was really, really good. See, talking about Jin-Roh and the plot twist, the twist in Perfect Blue, I didn't think it was well executed. Like,
Yeah,
to
I
me,
think it confuses you enough to not see it coming.
yeah, when there's kind of this mixture between the show they're shooting and the actual story, when they're like, oh, I thought the twist was that she was the patient, you know, the girl, and I was like, oh fuck, this is so good. And then the actual ending, I was like, yeah, it's good as well. But if it was revealed that it was like kind of a Shutter Island kind of thing,
Yeah.
I was like, you know, a bit overdone, but
Well,
I don't know, back then I don't think it was. I was like, that's really good. But so I really like that one. What's so many?
Lupin, but that's, you know, again.
Oh, the Momo.
Oh, Mystery of Mamo. Moo Moo. Mystery of Moo Moo.
I was like,
Hey boo boo, there's a
the
giant
15
fucking ring.
endings.
Yeah,
of
that's the
Momo.
thing we always go back to whenever we're watching anime. Is it going to have another 15 endings?
You did watch Your Name. My
No,
sister-
no,
No.
that's with someone else. So it's
Yeah.
Oh, right, my
Belle.
sister
Yeah, we
asked
did.
me about this one.
Yeah.
So there's
Penguin
Penguin
Highway.
Highway.
Penguin Highway, yeah, it was okay.
Gundam Lupin, one of the Lupins.
That might have been the first.
Galaxy Express.
Oh, and that's another one that because is there a series as well? Am I crazy?
There's a
Yeah,
TV
there's a
series.
The
Yeah.
TV series. So you get Dragon Ball Z and Lupin on the main broadcast television. That it's like we have like 6 big channels, so it's channel 6 basically, and then you have like the niche ones, or like channel 7 or channel 78. You know, you have to go and actually. And one of them was the series for Galaxy Express
Oh, nice.
and Harlock as well.
Yes, Captain Harlock.
And-
He was pretty big in Italy, from what I recall.
Yes, yeah, really big and Captain Harlock.
I think a lot of Leiji Matsumoto stuff was pretty big.
Yeah, and Galaxy Express as well. I'm thinking about other ones. Oh, Doraemon.
Oh,
That's
Doraemon,
really
yeah. I
big.
don't think we ever got that over here. I'm only vaguely aware of it through its internet.
That's really big.
I am not aware at all.
Same.
I don't know how to describe it.
It's a space cat.
Yeah.
It has a pouch, and he gets like it's basically Inspector Gadget, but as a cat.
It's like Dora
It's
the
very much like
Explorer.
a kid's
Yeah, it's
anime.
Take Inspector Gadget, you put Felix the cat, you just bounce them together.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm thinking, what was?
Unfortunately, you didn't watch Millennium Actress because I watched it at work.
Apparently, it was good. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was the same director as Perfect Blue,
Mm.
and it was
And we
really
still
good.
have 2 movies to cover from him.
That's good. You'll
Good.
like it, so it's good.
Soon.
Drifting Home and Hello World are another 2 we covered.
Drifting Home, I like the story and the not the symbolism, but like the idea of like coming of age and it's a little big thing, a big allegory. I really like that. And Hello World was just a bit
The
weird.
colorful.
Hello World was fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember liking the beginning very much because the guy just shows up and is like, it's me in the future. I was like, oh. But then I got lost a bit. And then
Yeah.
You watch Promare?
Oh, Promare and Perfect Blue. Did you watch Promare with Melina?
It's from air.
Yes, you did.
That's the big
The firefighter.
fire-
colorful firefighters mechs. Kind of gay.
That was very gay.
See, I fucking told you.
She told me, was like, Michael said it's very gay.
No, I said
I
it's
don't
kind
see
of
it.
gay.
Yeah.
Kind of gay.
Oh yeah,
I
my
can
thing was
see-
like,
I
it's
can
kind
see.
of gay.
It's kind
It's
of
me. I'm the firefighter. It's like cool. Like,
It's more flamboyant
the
than
thing
it
I
is
was thinking
kinda
back to,
gay.
like,
Yeah.
you know, like the male strippers. Like, where is the fire? You know. Like, well, I get it. What's the other one? Did you talk about? Oh, I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. That was
Oh
nice.
yeah.
That was emotional.
I really like that movie. Yeah.
It's a good movie.
A couple of bit weird moments that I'm not explaining, like when he pins it down on.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
that's
talked
the
about
sticking
that.
point
Yeah.
that we
We
had
talked
for it
about
as
it,
well.
But again, so I like anime, but I always say, you know, there is always some sexualization in everything.
Yeah.
Even Jin-Roh, I was like, let's see if we have some
Jin-Roh,
sexy
I
moments.
was surprised
We always
it
see
wasn't.
one nipple when the
But
wolves.
it's a
There is
non-sexualized,
I remember that.
and I'm like,
non-sexualized
okay,
nipple.
I get that.
That's
I'll allow
probably
it.
why I didn't pick up on it.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking for it.
Why are you looking for nipples?
I wasn't looking for it, I just sort of noticed.
And Vampire D.
Mhm.
Oh, I got it.
I don't think so. No.
I don't think there was any.
No, I think just Layla is like a
overt
bit of
nudity.
a
Like a
She's in a
stretch.
state.
and the guy says, "Oh, I like you in your tight dress." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Which is weird. I'd never looked at Layla and went, ah, fuck, she's kind of hot. Like,
yeah,
nah,
exactly.
I was looking at the other girl. I was like,
which other one?
the main girl. What's her
stone-
name?
Oh,
Dunga.
the
No, Dungan. That's the name.
the kidnapped girl.
Yeah, the
Oh fuck, I don't remember her name.
I don't remember her name either, actually.
Charlotte.
Charlotte. It is
Oh, yeah,
Charlotte,
yeah.
Yeah.
Which I feel like's got a tie to a Dracula movie or
Yeah.
Could be.
another
She just
vampire movie.
She was dressed exactly like the girl from Phantom of the Opera as well. So I was like, yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah,
the
that's
same
true.
thing.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you-
Charlotte
kind
was
of a-
just too normal of a name compared to
Yeah.
everyone else. I was like, this has to be a reference to something.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it is very much a name that's used like innocent girl name,
Yeah,
Charlotte.
but given the general like we said Germanic
Yeah.
kind of influence in the film, I was like, that's not a
Awful.
Germanic
No.
name.
Because if you look at Link Mayer, I'm like, that's
Mayer.
Yeah. Like, you know the. It's another tangent. It was a football game in the 90s or something, and a Japanese man had to come up with American names. Have you ever seen
Oh
that?
yeah.
Please pull up because it's hilarious.
Yes,
That's the
this is
NES.
the,
And
was that
Link Mayer to me is like a name that a
Wasn't it
Japanese
the-
guy doesn't know. It
It's
was
like
a,
an
it
NES.
was a baseball.
Yeah,
and you
NES
just look
baseball
for
thing.
like Japanese.
Oh shit! I keep hitting.
I don't
all
know if
the
it was
buttons.
football or baseball.
Basketball, maybe.
So
I-
yeah, but
I know
have
which
you
one.
seen
Yeah,
the
yeah,
meme? Yeah. And that's what I thought.
Video
Japanese guy
games
named
was
Americans.
made up
American
names.
Yep,
Oh,
there you go.
Fake
First
American names in
Reddit.
Japanese
funny.
baseball
And-
game.
And when I saw Link Mayer, I was like, that's a name that a Japanese guy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's German.
Of course.
There's
So-
a
Because
We
Meyer,
have.
it's very.
So you have
Slev McDykel,
no, it'd be Sleeve
Oh,
McDougall.
Sleeve.
Yeah.
Todd Bonzales,
I like Willie Dustus.
Tony Schmirk. Schmirk.
Bobson Ducknut.
Donut.
Shaun
Here is,
Furcotte.
here is the thing. There is an actual person named Chamberlain. Why did they change to Chamberlain?
Raoul Chamberlain.
Mike Truck.
And then you have Mario McElwain.
Glenn Allen Mixon.
Japanese people like, I know there was Max in the name, so
Yeah.
McDyko. And then the Spanish names, Gonzalez, Hernandez,
Rortigal.
Rortigal. Then you have Forecut, it's furry.
Tim Sandali.
Is that how you spell Shaun?
Shown.
Sean
If that was
Furcoat.
if that O was an A, it would be a spelling. But because it's shown,
Mike.
How do you spell Jeremy?
Mike Truck. What did you? Jeremy.
Jerome Grid.
Gride.
I wish they had some visual thing.
Yeah.
To show people. And you
Willy?
can find it. I mean, if you just
Yeah,
Google
yeah.
Dustus.
It's like the first Google image, first Google
Just
result.
Willie Dustus.
Willie
Willie
Dustus
Dustus.
is my favorite.
Not Willie Justice. No. Willie
Dustus.
Dean
Dustus.
Westray.
Anatoly Smorin.
Oh yeah, that's very much not
There looks
Russian.
to be a space. Isn't it
No,
Anatole the
Ray
First?
Mixcris.
Smorin. Maybe.
No. I think that's just
Yeah?
the way
Oh.
characters are rendered. Because
okay.
look
I
at
think they
Mario.
would like.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
there are some people who have Russian sounding names in the US. That's it.
There you go.
Smorin.
Anatoly is like an actual
proper
Russian
name.
name, but it's
Yeah.
not spelt like that.
No.
I like Ray McScriff.
My favorite is Bobson Dugnut.
My favorite is Mike Truck.
Yeah,
but it's so
I'm
easy.
sticking with Mike Truck.
That is a good one. I feel like that's like a real name.
It's
someone
short
has.
but sweet, you know? You
Yeah.
get straight to the point. It's a good wrestling name. Mike Truck.
See, but
Where's Truck?
I love the stuff when
Where's
they're
Truck?
so uninformed that it's funny.
Yeah.
Imagine if this came out today, like, it's not accurate. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's so funny.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
couldn't do this now.
No, imagine if
unfortunately.
like the other way around, and it's like,
Oh,
oh, so
God,
like
yeah.
Shamarino, Makawato, like, fuck, no, it's.
I mean, it's been done many times. Like, look at J.K. Rowling. Like, don't want to bring her
Ching
into
Chong.
it.
Is it Ching Chong?
The fighters in Punch
Cho
Out.
Chang.
Cho Chang.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Punch Out has like
Very
Oh, yeah, Punch Out is
stereotypical
so-
names.
Yes.
Vodka Drunkinsky.
I think if you
Glass Joe,
Glass
Soda
Little Mac.
Popinski, Von Kaiser,
Kaiser. Who's the
Superman,
bald bull?
Aaron Ryan,
King Hippo.
So if
Don't-
you spell his name, it's basically Aryan.
Arian. Yeah.
Ah.
Japanese. They're obsessed in Germany.
I mean, they kind of had some
There's-
ties there.
Soda
Yeah.
Popinski.
Piston Hurricane, Ball Bill,
It makes it
wait.
sound like he pissed in a
Bald bull
hurricane.
is Turkish.
Kid Quick.
Pizza,
Pizza
Pasta.
pasta is an
pasta.
Italian boxer.
Born in
How do you feel about this representation?
Kevin Wong found the ridiculousness of the
Mr.
character thing.
Sandman is a black boxer. Oh no,
Oh.
Mr. Sandman.
Oh,
send me a man.
I'm sorry. I'm just looking at pizza pasta. is pizza the first name?
Yes.
Pizza-
Because
is the
imagine
first
you're
name.
because pasta might be a last name. Very rare. But like, what am I calling? What am I going to name my son?
Pizza.
Pizza. It fits.
Bear
Bear hugger.
Has to be
I think
Coffee
if you go-
Dragon. No,
Chan,
Canadian.
fucking
If you
hell.
go to any fighting or or sport game from the Super Famicom,
Oh,
you
yeah.
get this
Yeah.
stuff. It's hilarious. I love it.
I gotta bring up Soda Popinski because in the original arcade version he's Vodka Drunkins.
That's right, yeah. You had to change it for the home console.
Yeah. Great tiger.
Of course, the tiger is Indian.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
You got Von Kaiser, who's
It's German.
German.
Piston
Piston
Honda.
Honda is Japanese. Wait, who's the other piston? There was another piston.
Piston Hurricane.
Piston
Piston
Hurricane.
Hurricane, yeah.
And he was American.
Think so.
Don
Flamenco.
Flamenco.
Spanish.
Who ends
Yes,
up
Spanish
becoming-
boxer from Madrid.
Who ends up becoming a One Piece character, Doflamingo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
No.
That's way better.
King
King
Hippo.
Hippo.
Mike Tyson.
From the fictional.
King Hippo.
Oh, Mike Tyson.
Obese.
Well, that's Mike Tyson's
'cause
Punch
it's Mike
Out.
Tyson at the end. Yeah.
yeah, Mr.
That-
Dream.
Yeah, they had to replace him because the contract ran out.
Oh,
So.
God, I read it as Gabby Gay. I was like,
That's what I read as well.
it's French, so it could be.
Bob Charlie.
That.
Jamaica.
Why'd you? I was thinking.
Oh.
So
like
Italian,
London.
Italian is pizza pasta, but
Oh,
Jamaica Bob
Bob
That's
Marley.
a Bob Marley reference.
Oh. Well, that's even worse.
Oh, Aaron is Irish.
Irish.
It said Germany on the other screen.
Aaron Ryan.
Because it
That weirdly
kind of reads
relaxing.
Aryan.
Yeah.
That does kind of make sense for Irish though. That does sound like it could be a very
Yeah.
stereotypical
Yeah.
Irish name. Mad
Narcissus
Clown.
Prince. Narcissus
Why is the
Prince.
Mad
Oh, Mike
Clown
Clown
also
is
a-
from Milan. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Hoy Quarlo is Beijing.
No, I'm sorry, but the description is so funny. For Matt Clown, began his life as a famous opera singer, and then he suffered a nervous breakdown.
Larry dedicated himself to being a clown.
And then he was like, I'm gonna be a clown.
Is this the backstory for the guy in Ace Attorney?
I was waiting for that to become like a Phantom of the Opera reference.
Yeah.
And then I was
So
just.
he's a
just becomes
famous
the
opera
Joker.
singer. He has a nervous breakdown, happens, and he's like,
Joker.
Joker moment.
Where do I go
Live in
from here in my
society.
life? Disco Kid.
Disco Kid, Brooklyn, New York.
I think like all
Yeah.
the Americans are from Brooklyn or Philadelphia. I think
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
two
yeah.
places they know.
I'm shocked there's not a stoner from LA.
They don't know.
Give it time.
I think we've been recording
God.
this for long enough. We've went on quite a few tangents.
Yeah.
But that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I keep forgetting this is not Nap.
no,
This is Anime Lane.
This is Anime Lane. So thank you very much for listening to this episode of Anime Lane. Anime Lane?
Anime Lane.
Anime Lane, where we talked about Jin-Roh and Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
Too many other things.
And too many
lots
other
of
things.
I'm very sorry.
Thank you for joining us, Manuel.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. See you guys next time.
Farewell.
Bye.